8 random questions. You get 3 rolls on the tower, and whatever I roll for you, that's where we start.
Oh, all right.
I am obsessed with looking at everybody's IMDb trivia page, and yours is limited. There's not much there. So, if you got the opportunity to put a super random fact about yourself on that page, what would it be?
I can turn my thumb around, which is really weird.
How did you discover that, and can we see a demonstration?
Yeah, so like here's my thumb, and I can turn.
Oh my god!
And I think I discovered that in like elementary school because it was the first time I've heard of it because I met someone else that was like extremely double jointed.
I don't know what I expected, but I didn't think it was going to look like that.
I know, it's pretty weird.
This one we're just calling the wilds. Do you make your bed every day, never make it, or is it a chaotic mixture of the two?
It's a chaotic mixture of the two.
All of you do that. Almost all of you do that.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. Because I remember when I had that line, I was like, damn, am I really that crazy? Like, but yeah, no, I'm a chaotic mixture.
All right. I didn't realize how much that stressed me out until I watched the show, but I got to respect every form of bed making, approach to bed making, so all the power to you. You are on set shooting a season of The Wild, and all of a sudden, a zombie outbreak happens. I'm going to give you some descriptions, and I want you to tell me which, cast member, the real person, not the character, best suits this description.
Oh, okay.
First one is, who is the most likely to be the last person to catch on and not realize that there are zombies on set?
It might be Mia or Tanner. That's what I would say. She's so just kind of like in the moment that she would probably just like, what's happening? Then turn around and see all of it, you know?
All right, not half bad reason for that to be her answer there. How about, who is the most likely to be the first to sacrifice themselves for the others?
I'd say Tanner. He's such a sweet guy.
I only got to talk to him and Reed for 8 minutes, but I'll tell you, I could already get those vibes from him.
Yeah, I'd say Tanner.
Who is the most likely to trip and fall while running from the zombies?
Sarah Pigeon did trip on our first day of shooting in the very first scene, so I guess I'll say Sarah.
This is one of my favorite kind of zombie movie tropes. Who is the most likely to get bit and then try to hide their infection?
Zach, because he might freak out about the fact that he got bit and then be like, what do I do? But he would let me know. He would let either me or Aiden know. He'd be like, help me.
I kind of love that.
He's probably going to be mad at me for saying that. He'll be all right.
Who is most likely to be the last one standing?
I think Aiden, or maybe it's just because I'm like in the Henry world. You know what I mean? Henry would definitely be the last one standing.
Oh, I'd believe that. It's obviously Henry and Dot.
Yeah, Henry and Dot, yeah.
Who is the most likely to be turned into a zombie, but have the determination to fight the change and come back at the last possible second to save the day?
Reed.
I feel like that is the highest compliment you could give in this really warped zombie outbreak game. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for a brand new episode of Collider at Ladies' Night. I feel like everybody out there knows how obsessed I am with the Wild, so you can all probably tell how happy I am to have Rain Edwards on the show. Hello, congratulations yet again.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I don't think you could have harder work than basically kicking off your career with a soap opera. So looking back, is there anything about having your first significant on-screen gig, being the Bold and the Beautiful, that now makes you think, I am so glad I started with all of that on that show because, it gave me an invaluable skill set now?
100%. I can memorize lines like nobody's business.
I would think so.
Like on that show, you film 8 episodes a week and you film 2 episodes a day. So you learn a lot about how to it. And it's crazy because you don't even realize it's happening, but because you're just so in the momentum of things, you just start picking up the lines a lot faster. I remember there was one time where I completely forgot they added a scene that day, and one of the interns comes in and she's like, hey, here's the sides for the scenes today. I said, huh? And then I looked at it and I was like, this is going to take me 30 minutes to learn. And I learned it in 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, I got it. And it helped a lot, especially on the Wilds too, because season 1 we filmed so far out in location, like the turnarounds were crazy. So, and we were working such long hours that I literally just started learning my lines day of because I needed to get sleep.
Let's kind of bridge the gap from The Bold and the Beautiful to some of the next shows that you booked. What is it like going from that to shows like MacGyver and Snowfall? Because again, I know the production of a soap opera is extremely unique, a one of a kind type thing. So when you made the move to those shows, was there anything that made you go like, huh, the production process on MacGyver and Snowfall is much easier. But then also, is there something about those two shows that, proved to be different and also a challenge where you had to adapt to that way of working?
Coming out of the soap opera world into the primetime world, I was like, man, I'm so much more prepared than like a lot of people because I can learn my lines like that. And then it gives me more time to do character work if I wanted to, like all this stuff. But then something I did learn that was the flip side, the challenge of being in prime time was that because it's longer shooting, even just for like one scene or like one arc, you have to sit in those emotions a lot longer than you do when you're in the soap opera world. So, soap opera world, I could get through having a baby, crying all day, breaking up with my boyfriend all in one day, and then go home and be like, did that, leave it there. But in prime time, you do half of the breakup in one day and then you have to finish up the rest tomorrow. And I remember when I was filming the movie Hellfest I did, that I just remember sitting, I went back to my hotel room, and I think at this point I had been crying on set for like 3 days. And I went home and I was like, why do I feel so sad? And I was like, oh, this isn't me. This is from my character earlier. But because I have to keep going back into it, my body is like, when are we on? When are we off? So you really have to find a process for yourself as to like easing yourself in and out of those places that I didn't necessarily have to do in the soap opera world because it was all done in one day.
For what it's worth, everything that went into that Hellfest role paid off big time. I'm obsessed with that. That movie is so my type of movie.
Really? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's like I'm a big slasher fan. Here, I'll cheat and I'll bring back one of my Dice Tower questions because obviously I had one on there for
Ah!
Hellfest. Where do you draw the line with haunted houses? Would you be the one to basically walk into the Deadlands?
No, I would not. And that's what's funny because right before I got that role, I was like, no, I'm not doing haunted houses. I grew up in a rougher area. I might punch somebody. I don't know what's going to happen. And it's all reflexes. But my friends have been trying to get me to go for years. And then one of my friends tricked me into going to Netherworld in Atlanta. Have you ever been?
I have never been, but now I want to
It's
go.
like one of the best haunted houses in the country. Like, and it is pretty lit. I actually love going now. But she tricked me into going. I went. I had a great time, and it was all right before I had the audition for this movie. And then I got it, and we went. But I would never, when we did the Deadlands thing about like signing away your like people to touch you, I was like, that's the thing I've always drawn the line at. It's like no one can touch me.
I'm eager to jump into the wilds, but I want to add one more question about an upcoming project. I think this one is shot and in the can, but I have to ask, what is it like working with Bill Burr as an actor's director? Is there
Dude,
any, I,
he's
I knew that
so
was going to be the
cool.
reaction.
He's so cool. He's one of the coolest guys. I just went to go see him at his Netflix as a joke special. And like I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous because I'm like, I'm coming onto a comedian set. They're gonna roast me all the time. I can roast, but I'm like, I'm not trying to roast my boss. Like, I'm not gonna do that. But he was the coolest guy, the sweetest guy. Had the greatest time filming with him, and I hope to film with him again. But even just seeing him the other day, like it's so cool, and it's just weird that like I can text Bill Burr, and and he's just like, "Hey, Ray, what's up?" And I'm like, "You're Bill Burr, like what's happening?" But he's the coolest dude. And I met his wife Nia. She's super sweet. I freaking love him. He's amazing.
None of that surprises me, and it makes me so happy to hear. I can't wait to see that movie.
It's gonna be good.
Old dads, by the way, for anyone who does not know. All right, let's talk about the Wilds. Of everyone in the Wilds ensemble, whose process is most similar to yours, where the second you hit set, you kind of just fell into step? But then on the other hand, who has like a completely different approach to the work and maybe challenged you to adapt and maybe even adapt for the better?
I would say I think Sophia's process is similar to mine because, we both were child actors, so we have a lot in common when it comes to just like working on set because we've been doing it since we were a kid. Um, but then at the same time, she's kind of the most different from. It's really weird. Like she's very similar in how she just comes on set. She's like, all right, this was happening, da 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 da. But I'd say that she is the one that surprises me the most when I see her work because I told her that this season too. I was like, every time I read your lines when I'm seeing like reading the script, I imagine it one way and I come to set and you do it completely different and so much better than I envisioned it to be. And so I learn from Sophia a lot. So yeah, she's both the most similar and the most different, I would say.
Rachel specifically now. One thing that really struck me about her experience this time around is that she's suffering with two losses, Nora and the loss of her hand, but the loss of her hand is never really presented as a big issue. And I found that really interesting and I found it kind of powerful. So, what kind of conversations do you have with Sarah and Amy at the very beginning to, make sure you're all on the same page in terms of why that's her approach to what happened in the previous season?
Yeah, well, as far as like, the grief that she's experiencing with Nora, it is that kind of takes dominance, but it also is reflective of Rachel's character of avoidance, so to speak, where she just suppresses everything. And it's interesting because the focus was more so on Nora, but we didn't really talk about the hand, so to speak, and what that symbolism is for her. But I kind of found it in the journey, so to speak, because Rachel gets to this place of peace and just letting life happen that to me was kind of how she viewed her hand now. And it was very interesting because Sarah Pigeon had asked me one day on set, she was like, hey, do you think that Rachel like would consider herself like unable to do things like or just like disabled, like would she put that on herself of like looking at it in a way where it's a negative, so to speak? That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, would she look at it negatively? And I was like, I don't think so. I really don't think that she would anymore. Maybe season one Rachel would, but
Yep,
season
exactly
two
what I was just thinking.
Rachel, yeah, season two Rachel, I feel looks at it as this actually has given me more power than even having my hand. And like she might have to do life a little differently, but that doesn't mean that she's not capable of doing amazing things. But with her having both hands, that's kind of all she saw that she was able to do. She limited herself where it's like this weird this irony of like having her hand, she was actually more limited and unable to do things than not having it.
Like, I know at this point you guys don't really know what lies ahead for the characters, but when you have to play a moment like that on set, what is going through her head so that she is giving the right expression at that point? Do you think that she is on that roof in a position where, like, she's totally devastated that they're stuck on an island again? Or is there any of that faith and that determination that even though they're stuck, they're going to power through?
I think she's just like, what's going on, to be honest? It was like, wait a minute, because, Leah has like known something is wrong for the longest time. Whereas Rachel and a bunch of other people are like, no, this is like real. We crashed or we got rescued. So I think at that point it was just like, okay, you're entering into this whole new world. Who are these boys? Leah seems to know what's going on. I trust Leah, so I'm going to follow her wherever. But I think it's just kind of a what's actually happening.
It's incredible that that didn't fully hit me until you just said it, that almost every single person on that roof will need to be debriefed on
Yeah,
how crappy their situation has just become.
yeah. Like none of them know except for Leah how bad it is, and I think Roth too a bit. But everybody else is like, who are these other teenagers? Why are we all here? And why is there music playing?
Here's another question, just for fun to look ahead. Of all of the members of Twilight of Adam, which one do you think that Rachel would benefit from learning from and spending the most time with going forward?
She's learned so much about like just being at peace. I feel like she might be able to give that to somebody though. I feel like she might be able to give that to uh, Kieran or Scotty because they're both really hot headed.
That they are.
Like they,
Scotty needs some chill, but I'm very
yeah,
much enjoying Reed's performance in that respect.
yeah. But I think that the like because Rachel used to be like that. Like she used to be the hothead. She used to be the one that just went off at the drop of a dime, and now she's kind of learned to take a minute and look at everything. Um, yeah, I don't know.
I gotta let you go. Big thank you for your time today, and huge congratulations on The Wild Season 2. I
Thank
cannot wait
you.
to see more.
Thank you so much.